There is one stock that is about to skyrocket, in my opinion. It is a psychedelic stock. They are partnered now with NYU. They actually committed $5 million to establish this partnership to help train psychiatrists through New York University's program there. And they also recently raised money back in August at a price below their price at the time of that raise. So after that raise, the stock stayed the same price. So that ended up being bullish, and then bodes well for us in the future, knowing that the small, tiny pharmaceutical, well, technically it is a pharmaceutical company. They do psychedelic pharmaceuticals. If they need to raise money again, and the stock price didn't go down the last time they raised money, even though they raised it at a lower price, that's good for us to know. It gives us a little more peace of mind, which is important to have with these companies that only trade a couple million, $10 million a day or more. Definitely not 100 million. So let's jump into a little breakdown of the chart, breakdown of their partnerships with NYU and the like, and see how much risk you're willing to take for this startup. Not financial advice.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 All right, so this is the chart. This is what we got going on, and this is the move up recently. They have shown explosive moves in the past. This is 30% in the matter of a week, handful of days. Of course, much stronger than the market. That overlay in the background showing the market. This blue line showing the relative strength of the market. It's much higher. Of course, we can just see that looking at the chart, but it never hurts to have it shown on all lines. There's a lot going on down there. I've got to, maybe make that a little cleaner. It's not even clean for myself, but blue line shows that it's way up here. The MACD thing, I barely even use that. I'm trying to work on that, but really all you need is volume, which there is some volume that came in on this price increase, and there's definitely enough volume, about $20 million a day. Sometimes there's much less, 10 million or less, but it's liquid enough for most people. And then on a 5-year chart, if we look at, 2022, no stocks did well, and MNMD was no exception, coming down from the COVID bubble as well. But there was, this is a stock that can have some euphoric moves. That's crazy, 200% in early 2024, and then sort of breaking out on a weekly above that level now. So that's certainly of interest. This is a pretty important level. This is just recent enough where these people probably did sell, and you can see tested here, tested here, tested here, tested here, breakout above here. So whether they sold or not, I'm sure they did at this point, but this is still a visual price level that's important to get over, because it's saying, hey, there's more demand than that. So, and now we're going to get over again after we've gone sideways. So, maybe you're a bit late to the party if you buy here. You usually are probably a bit late to the party, but if you do get a pullback to this level, this is a really, really awesome base to risk off of. Risk maybe 50 cents or more. Of course, if you're trading on a monthly chart, if you don't check your charts much, well, all you see is this breakout, and you're actually getting out at a perfect time. So all depends on how active you are, and let's take a look at what this company does so we can maybe be a little more reassured or not on how to buy a company that trades, $20 million a day or less. So this is the ticker MNMD, MindMed, psychedelic biotech, right? So these are its peers, and psilocybin is the active ingredient. I think I've heard of that. CMPS, and then ATAI, and then CYBN. So if we look at those ones, CMPS, marching up, kind of choppy. This is definitely worse. Probably some trial data or settlement news or something. We can dive into that if we need to. But yeah, it looks like there was some type of what is this? This actually sounds bullish. So, I don't know exactly what happened there. Because let me know in the comments. But this sounds good, right? Allowing psychedelic convictions to be pardoned. And I'm also not really sure what that has to do with, psychedelic drugs, the product itself. But anyway, ATAI, pretty clear uptrend as well. A little choppy, a little wicky, but definitely a lot of volume here. Maybe if it pulls back, this is an opportunity, but it's definitely, it moves 12% a day, up 30%, down, what is this, down 20% or whatever. This is a pretty nasty wick. So I do think that MNMD, it's a mouthful, is a little clearer. I mean, this wick was bad for all stocks when the market went down 10% or more in a day, 8%, actually less than that. But CYBN is not the one you want to buy. So it's got to be that one. And you don't want to hold the earnings, but earnings are full week plus away, Halloween, and very fitting for this company, I guess. If we look into a little more info about what we're talking about here, they're having an important phase 3 trial in the first half of this year. So I don't know how that went. I feel like that we should have some information about that. Phase 3 is super important. So it's probably what happened is they enrolled phase 3. Okay, this makes sense. Primary endpoint top line results in the first half of next year. All right, that checks out. They've demonstrated phase 2B. They did get clinical remission and a response in the majority of participants. I'm not particularly sure if, I'm not going to read into this exactly because maybe you could get less participants experiencing a response, but the response was, exceptional. Whatever. The point is they're marching towards phase 3. I'm not a biotech expert. You're not, probably. And yeah, this is important and a huge, massive market anxiety. If this thing helps you sleep, that's pretty much helps everyone. I don't know a single person that wouldn't want better sleep. And not everyone's going to be excited about these marijuana stocks, these psychedelic stocks. But the deal is, this is basically in the running for being the winner in this category that is definitely interesting. This is the partnership with NYU Langone. I don't know the name of this rich guy's, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but they committed $5 million to NYU to establish this center. But you might be like skeptical, like, okay, so NYU didn't put up any money. It's like, well, I mean, they're a research institution. They have to first put their name behind it, which is a huge risk. And then they have to actually train all these people to actually, and then there's probably some research funding that they're able to get, federal grants as well, to make all this actually happen beyond the $5 million. So they have other partnerships as well that I'm just not as familiar with, but, it's not that these universities are not legitimate. They just don't have as big a brand name in the US, right? So this is the difference. They're self-funding. So that's a little bit compared to the ones we just looked at, CMPS and ATAI. The concern here is if they self-fund, right, the stock price could go down because they're expanding the number of shares, which they have this shelf available. They can raise money with that at any time. It's unlimited. And they have raised money. But like I said, they did back in August raise quite a bit of money, $75 million at a price lower than their price at that time. August 9th, they raised $75 million at $7. So if we look at August 9th, $7 is down here and the stock price was above that. And the stock just sort of chugged along. I mean, sure, it had like some pullbacks and chop, but shut up. It didn't get really affected by that capital raise, which is below their current stock price. So that's helpful to know for a little company that trades, dozen million a day dollars, because if they do raise money at a price below their current stock price, we've seen that, well, this company just kind of chugs along anyway. So it's not that big a deal, which is what we want to see from a startup. It's better for them to have more money, more cash. They kind of need cash right now, if they only have a couple years of cash. It'd be great to have some more runway. So yeah, they could offer. We saw that instrument, the S3, that they can, tap. And then here's the deal for the market itself. I wouldn't worry about these price targets. This is kind of whatever, unless it's like JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs and it's some big research thing comes out and then they get a big price upgrade from Goldman Sachs. Or if they get a ton of price upgrades at once, which is rare, that could make the stock shoot up. Happened with CrowdStrike recently. But in general, don't really need to worry about these. These are not like super brand name. I mean, I'm undereducated in this space, but so yeah, it is legitimate, but part of that legitimacy is them self-funding and then working with legitimate institutions like NYU to sort of push themselves forward. There is a bear case, of course, as well. Phase 3 has to happen. It has to, those top line results next year have to come in successful, and then making the drug commercially viable is also a challenge. Maybe they'll get acquired, maybe they won't. Maybe those big companies will do some type of milestone payment agreement, and then those other companies. So here's the milestone payment. This is exactly what I was talking about. MindMed is not doing that yet. They might do some sort of milestone agreement with a big company, but I don't know if Pfizer, Merck, or Johnson & Johnson, or whoever is going to want to do psychedelic drug development. I'm no pharma guy. So they got money, and the chart looks good, and they have a treatment, and they're trying to see if they can get those results in. So that's what's going on. That's the sort of price agreement that they're starting to expand out of. And on a 5-year chart, that level is very important, all the way going back to really 2022. So see if it can maybe pull back, hold, give an awesome entry. Or if it just goes without you, well, maybe you'll have to wait for another sideways move, but probably a possibility of at least a pullback here, considering the market's pretty choppy. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe. And if you want to learn about stocks, ask me anything, and get the best idea on a single day, on a particular day, rather than these YouTube videos come out a little late. They're like all over the place a little bit. YouTube hates when you put out like a handful of videos all at once, so I have to stagger them. And the community is where you want to be. That's where you can just ask me questions directly and get answers, and also get a weekly live stream Q&A where I go into my process, and you can see that recorded too. You don't have to be there for it if you're busy, which most people in this community, I expect, it's for busy people. It's not for day traders. All right, hope that helps.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.